So we are on our way to go see a possible second milk cow for our family. We've decided that we need another one because Bambi was only giving us about a gallon of milk a day when she was only 2 months into her freshening. And while that currently doesn't mean that we want to get rid of her, we definitely need more than that. We have been keeping an eye out for quite a while now for a new dairy cow, and last night came across someone who listed a purebred Jersey, although she's not registered, about 5 years old, and has calved before without any problems that they knew of. And anyway, they invited the current owners invited us to come take a look today. They're only an hour and a half away, so we were happy to go do that.
Some of the discussions we've had about getting an additional milk cow have been one A1, A2 discussion with a little bit of research. We are not experts on that at all. We also discussed, that this cow was in a fire and is not gentled very much. You can't put a halter on her. So we're really a little worried about that. The benefits are she's a great producer of milk. She's fairly gentle, although timid is what we're being told, and that she is just really, really high production with very little grain, really. She said they had been giving her about, I think, 2 pounds of grain a day.
Yeah, with her while milking her, or at the end of her milking, I think.
So they were also able to get 7 to 8 gallons of milk a day out of her. She could easily maintain our family's milk supply for 3 or 4 months, and we're really just wanting some high butter fat. And we make a lot of butter. We make a lot of my wife wants to start making more cheeses, so we just really need some more production to be able to do that. And we also want to be able to feed our pigs more of the milk for helping fatten them up and providing some of our own feed versus purchasing all of it.
Okay, so is this cow A2 or tell us about that?
So the cow has a A1I gene versus an A2 gene. We really haven't found any research on that yet to find out exactly what that means. If there's anyone out there who would like to give us some information and share what they know about it, that would be helpful. So we don't really know what the right answer is, but we're going to go look at this cow. We're serious about this cow. We like the fact, just like I said earlier, that she's a good producer. She's gentle to milk. She's not kicking a lot.
She machine milks. So,
which is what we're doing. It's just more convenient for us. That's really about all I really know about this cow. I'm really looking forward to meeting her and seeing, if she's really scared of us, or if she's just timid and not wanting to be touched. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, from what our communications with the owner have said, she is timid. She was in a barn fire. I guess it's been almost 2 years ago. Obviously survived that. But, that kind of probably did some emotional damage to her. And she's calved without any problems and hasn't had any mastitis problems as far as the current owner knows. She, I believe, had belonged to a neighbor of the current owner during the barn fire, and they purchased her afterwards and have just really tried to take good care of her and, have milked her. She's been part of their family herd, but their herd's expanding this year with the birth of some new calves, and they just feel like they can't continue to keep her on. I think they said she's around 5 years old, but don't have her specific birth date. She is a purebred Jersey, but not registered. And so just a lot of different thoughts there that we're trying to make a decision on. We're going to go see this cow today and see, just what we think of her, whether she feels like a good match for our family. The owner did say that she does great with other animals around, including pigs and chickens. She does great with children around also, and that owner's children are, I think, like 12 and younger. So that's definitely a big factor for us. She also said, though, that she's not going to be a good cuddle cow. She might not let the kids pet her and stuff like that, and I am concerned about that because our kids do like to interact with our dairy cow. But that might be something that we can, don't you think maybe that could be something that she could become used to as she becomes used to us? If we put her in the stanchion and good things happen to her while she's in the stanchion, and when we're around, we're petting her and giving her alfalfa, stuff like that. Do you think that's something that we might be able to train her to get used to the kids petting her? And
I think that they could get used to it. They may not ever like it, but it's something they could get used to. It just may be their demeanor of the animal.
So hopefully that's something we learn more about today from the owner, and just in being around this cow. I definitely have children who are interested in milking, and I think it might be a big minus for this cow if she's not going to be willing to even have the kids milk her. Maybe we should have brought some of the kids with us today. I don't know, but I have a feeling that she'll be fine once she gets into a stanchion. If the owner is already used to milking her without any problems, and she does well in the stanchion, it probably won't matter so much who milks her, which would be a good thing because, like I said, I have kids who want to help with that, and I definitely want to encourage that. Charlie's not always available to help with the milking, and I'm not always available to help with the milking, and sometimes we do discuss possibly going to twice a day for a while, or possibly moving the milking to the morning, in which case Charlie's probably not going to be able to help with that. So having the kids help in that can really make our whole milking system go a lot easier. So anyway, we'll follow through with this and see how it goes today. I'm not in a hurry to buy a dairy cow because I want to make sure that we're getting the cow that's right for our family. But I do feel like once we find that cow, we have to be ready to jump on it. We can't, we might be able to discuss it possibly for a day or two, but that we can't, you can't wait until you have the money. You have to already have the money. And
so what are some of the pros and cons of buying this cow that we went and looked at today?
Okay. Well, I'll talk about a couple of mine, and then we'll let you talk about a couple of yours. I guess just an overview of this cow. Maybe I already said some of this, but she has a commercial dairy background. She was part in a barn fire in this commercial dairy, rescued from the barn fire, and this family that's currently selling her immediately took her in and started milking her, because I think she'd already had her calf. She was already in milk. And so they immediately started milking her. Cow was traumatized, obviously, like any cow or any other animal would be, from the barn fire. And in the beginning was a little, am I right? She was a little kicky and all of that. But this family did manage to get her to settle down, and she is not halter trained, but she is coaxed into, or they did originally coax her into their milking parlor and into a stanchion just with a bucket of feed. And now she goes in there with no problem, just on her schedule. She is not an A2 cow. She is something called A1I, and the I is some kind of variation of A2. That is a negative for us, but not 100% of a. It's not a deal breaker. Let's put it like that. So in meeting her, she does not want to be touched. She came up and smelled me multiple times. She did eat a treat from Charlie's hand. But she does not want to be petted. She does have horns, which I always have mixed feelings about. All of our American milking Devons have horns. Our Guernsey does not, but she was dehorned when she was young. So this Jersey does have horns. She is bred, and she was bred to a Jersey who is also not A2. He is A1A2, I think. We've still got to get all that information, but he was AI'd. I'm sorry, she was AI'd, and so the Jersey that she was AI'd to is also, according to the owners, he is double polled, which means that he has two genes for being naturally polled or naturally without horns. So again, according to the owners, her calf should naturally not have horns, which I like that idea, I have to admit. Just makes them a little more safe, but I never liked the idea of dehorning an animal, so it's just nice to know that there's animals that are naturally not horned. Alright, Charlie's turn.
So I'm a little on the fence about the cow. I was able to give her a treat and hand give her to that, and she was a little skittish. She wanted to take the treat and knock it out of my hand and then eat it off the ground, and I would not allow her to do that. I picked it back up and made her eat it out of my hand.
Which she did do?
Which she did do. Okay. She did take it out of my hand finally. And she was not scared of me, and I was not scared of her, but she backed away from me when she got what she wanted. And I think that's okay. That's not a quality that I dislike. I never felt threatened by her. I never felt she was aggressive. I never felt like I had to worry about her around the kids. I asked questions like, is she an alpha personality, or is she, the opposite of that? And she was by far the complete opposite. She's, very much going to be the last cow in the pecking order. She's so very, very docile. Even though she's timid, she's very much docile. I don't know enough about the A1I gene versus the A2. Just from the reading and the little bit of stuff that I've heard, A2 sounds like, that's the perfect scenario. The reality of it is, for me, is that I'm kind of in the middle of the road. We have already been drinking A1, A2 milk for many years. Our kids have been drinking it. We've made lots of dairy products with that milk. So I'm not torn one way or the other as far as which way to go.
The whole A2 thing, they did get her tested, and she, like Charlie said, she came back as something called A1I, and the I is supposed to be a variant of the A2. Evidently, there's a lot of variants out there. And we have real mixed feelings about this whole A2 thing. Bambi is an A2 cow, or at least that's what we were told when we purchased her. We do not have the paperwork to prove that, nor have we had her tested. American milking Devons are generally believed to be A2, but again, we have not tested any of ours, nor have we milked any of ours, although not for lack of trying. We might continue to try that one day, but for right now, we're not going to pursue that. I'm not sure 100%. I mean, some studies have shown that the A2 genes do produce a milk that is more easily digestible and better for human health. But I do wonder about that. I think a lot of it can be how the cow is, the quality of the milk, maybe not the digestibility. I'm not sure. The digestibility might be important only for people who have milk insensitivities, not so much for people who do just fine with dairy. Sometimes I think that the health of the cow and what the cow is fed may be just as important as whether or not it has the A2 gene. I also get concerned that I'm not for breeds being eradicated, and I think a lot of diversity in our food system is important, and the more people seek out only A2 cows, the less diverse our dairy will be, and I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good thing.
So for me, the downside is that she will get poor body condition when she's giving the milk. She really does need some high protein and grains to keep her body weight up. We've always tried to keep it as natural as possible and not overwork the animal. There's a lot of great things about this cow that we really just liked about her. We loved the experience of meeting the owners, walking through their parlor. I felt like they were really just giving us a very good picture of the cow.
Very honest.
Very honest, very detailed in the details about the animal. It wasn't just, here's a cow, buy it or don't. And sometimes you get that, and there was no pressure for us to buy her. They wanted us to go home and talk about it and make a decision and just let them know one way or the other, just so they can move on from us if we decided that we didn't want them. They really were not necessarily willing to sell this cow to just anybody. They really wanted it to have a good home where it was going to have a good life and taken care of, and so that really means a lot for us, because that's how we want our cows to be as well.
Can I interrupt again?
Yes.
And that was one thing I was very impressed with last night when I had texted the owner and we were kind of discussing it back and forth, is one of the first things she said is that she would love it if we could meet the cow before we're making any decisions. And I texted her back immediately. I was like, I love that you asked that, because so many people don't. And fortunately, I mean, they're not hours and hours away from us. They were only an hour and a half away from us, so that's not a big deal for us to go see the cow. But I think it's very important, if at all possible, that you're able to meet this cow and, you know, really get a feel of the cow, as well as its background and where it's coming from.
So for me, I'm still on the fence. It's not the perfect milk cow for our family, probably. However, from a milking standpoint and the volume of milk we're looking for and the experience and the relationship with the animal, it may not be the perfect cow for us, but
might not be the perfect relationship either.
Right.
Since I think in my dream world, the perfect relationship is a cow that is kind of lovey-dovey, that you can pet and is very friendly to you.
So from that perspective, this is definitely not a cow for a first-time homesteader.
First-time milker.
Or first-time milker. If you aren't comfortable around large animals and understand the way they move, the way they think, the way they act, it could get scary for you at some point. And that's not to be taken lightly for someone who's a first-time milker. My wife is going to have to make the decision, because she's the one that's going to have to do it when I'm not around. When I'm at work, if she decides to milk twice a day, she has to be able to handle this animal. And if she feels like she can't handle this animal, then we need to continue looking.
Well, and that's a very good point. I guess I do have to think about that a little bit more, but the little bit I was around her, I felt like I could handle her without any concerns. Yeah, she's not going to allow me to pet her, and just with Bambi, I can walk up and pet her, put a halter on her, try somewhat to walk her around. You know, that's not going to be Claudette. That's this cow's name. Claudette is not going to be that cow. But I do think I can get her into a milking stanchion and hook her up, and I think the kids can help me with that. And that's a big key. The owners, you know, said that their kids are able to help them without really any problem. Okay, one thing that we haven't really talked about is that she has been grain-fed some. They were feeding her a beet pulp and molasses mixture, as well as black oil sunflower seeds and some sweet feed. But I think they said they gave her about 2 pounds of the sweet feed, and
it was 2 pounds total. It was a pound of dairy feed.
That's what it was, dairy feed also. Okay.
A dairy feed, and then a pound of mixture of black sunflower seeds and sweet feed.
And the beet pulp.
And the beet pulp. So probably all in all, she was getting, 2 pounds worth of feed each time she was being milked.
And I know they said in the beginning that she was giving 7 to 8 gallons a day.
Correct. And that was 3 months out from giving birth.
For freshening, yes. So, but they didn't feel like they needed that much, so they were backing her down to, I think she said, about 4 gallons a day. So I'm thinking that when they backed her down to the 4 gallons a day, that's what they were, that's the amounts that you just listed in terms of the feed were what they were giving her.
Correct. So as far as the 7 to 8 gallons of milk a day, that was milking morning and night, and the calf, I believe, was staying on the mother at the same time. Right?
No, I think they said that they're not 100% sure how she does as a mother, because usually the calf has been taken from her.
Okay.
Because, well, they did not have a calf with her when they got her, with the current owners.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
So that is another concern. We definitely want her to be a good mother. And that's something with this particular cow that we're not going to know about until she calves. See how she. It might just be that she's always been used to her calf being taken from her immediately, and so she just ignores the calf. And fortunately, with her being AI, that also means we know about the time that she's due, so we can make sure that she's in a stall or in the barnyard or somewhere where we can easily keep an eye on her and notice, when she's going into labor and when the calf is born and whether or not she's taking care of that calf. Because if she's not, then we can jump in and take some emergency measures to care for the calf. So we have to be okay with being willing to give her some grain, or maybe just extra alfalfa or whatever, if we decide to purchase this cow. And that's something we really have to think about, because we've been very strictly grass-fed only. I guess we have to decide what our priority is, to not give the cow grain, or, which would mean that we probably get a good bit less milk, or if we really want some more milk, we might have to entertain the idea of grain at a minimum, or maybe just much higher quality hay, or the alfalfa pellets, or both. Yeah. Anyway, so that's where we are. We're gonna keep thinking about it and certainly pray about it, and I'll let you guys know about it later.